Over the weekend I wrapped up Ori and the Blind Forest, and it was a nice change to not have to rush a review out. I let the experience mentally simmer for a day or so, and I came to an oddly scary realization. I don't have anything very negative to say about Ori, and as a critic that just plain feels weird. No, a critic's job isn't to just call out a game's shortcomings, that's only a small part of it, but it's a part I've included in almost every review I've ever done. Ori and the Blind Forest is a great game, and it feels really good to add it to the ever-growing list of 2015's successful games like Bloodborne and Cities Skylines. I think anyone who's interested in the game or is a fan of Metroidvanias should definitely play it. As Ori, it's the player's job to bring balance to the recently decimated forest by restoring the spirits of water, wind, and warmth. Players explore the world by running and jumping, and eventually wall jumping, wall climbing, bashing, dashing, and a few other tricks. True to the genre's formula, the game dangles upgrades and trinkets in the player's face, but in order to reach those goals, Ori needs to add a new move to its repertoire by finding hidden upgrade stations in the forest. The story is lightly told through quick spurts of expository videos. In terms of subject matter, it's pretty sad. I'm not afraid to admit I shed a tear during the game's opening sequence. Its somber and sweetly melancholy soundtrack will stick with the player long after the game is over. Is it a little heavy-handed? Perhaps, but it feels genuine, and it's a nice change of pace compared to most of the big games that are released into the market. When it comes to gameplay, Ori is a solid experience. Controls are responsive and precise. Ori feels appropriately light and agile, like a true bioluminescent ninja squirrel cat rabbit that can shoot energy balls. Its colorful and lighthearted visual design are almost at a contrast to the game's difficulty, which takes a pretty big spike early on and doesn't decrease in difficulty until the later parts of the game when Ori's been souped up with some new power-ups. It's not an easy game, but dedication should help even the least skilled of players. To ease in the game's difficulty, Ori has a unique save system. If the player has enough energy, Ori can save just about anywhere in the world as long as it's standing on safe ground. It's sorta like a quick save feature, but one based on a currency that prevents you from quick saving just before instantly dying. That being said, I did quick save in some rather precarious situations, but I always managed to work my way out. While this is a Metroidvania platformer, there are no boss fights in the traditional sense. In Ori, the boss fights have been replaced with high-octane and complex escape sequences. These can be a source of frustration, but I was never frustrated to the point of quitting or truly complaining. Much like boss fights in more difficult games, success comes from practice and rote memory. Ori is clearly spiritually derived from Disney, Mario, and Rayman, just to name a few. I chuckled a bit when I found some Easter eggs in my playthrough. Though the game might not be breaking any new grounds, it's polished enough that I would put it in my personal top 10 Metroidvanias. My final game clocked in at 9 hours, and I feel satisfied with that time. Ori runs smoothly and at a high frame rate with no hiccups or load times. It looks gorgeous. The soundtrack is fantastic. It plays great. It's challenging, but most importantly, it was a heck of a lot of fun. I can fully recommend this game to just about anyone in any age range. This video is made possible through generous fan donations on Patreon.